Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Mariam, and I'm here with a very special person, a very special Yemer, and we're discussing her life. Her name is Binte Nadeem. Let me just quickly introduce this young girl. She's from Karachi, and she has been through a very inspiring journey. So without further ado, a very successful young entrepreneur with so many more things that she has planned that are coming ahead. Please welcome with me at your home, on your screens, while you're watching this on record, Miss Binte Nadeem. Hi, Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
Assalam. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? How has your life been lately? First of all, congratulations on the launch of your clothing store, Abrak, as you just told me while we were,
Thank you so
before
much.
recording. कैसे हुआ ये सब और कब हुआ और इतनी सी छोटी उम्र में, while you have all these other things and other pressures of society, एक business full time जो आपका commitment होती है. Tell me a little bit about Abrak.
Actually, doing a business, owning something and being your own boss has been my lifelong dream. Since my childhood, I have had this dream and imaginations that I will be sitting in a room and I will be discussing business plans with people. I even used to make business plans on my notebooks when I was a child. As I've had this childhood dream. And when this idea popped up some days back in my cousin's mind, in my family, that we should be doing something like this, since Eid is coming and it would work well if we do it. So I was all in for it because, you have to just gain experience. Being 18, you have no experience. I have no experience of business and how to handle things and how to market it, how to persuade people. So I was all in. I knew that my exams are just on the head. I have to prepare for that as well. So I was like, no, I got to do this thing. It's interesting.
It's interesting. It's for me interviewing you, me knowing you, that you've had this amazing journey that we will talk about in a while. For me, it's Team Mindworks and myself. We are super proud of our gamer. And we're super proud that we have people like you, so inspired and so ready to do anything kind of people in our little community. मुझे बताओ कि as a teenager, as a girl, when you propose this idea, because this idea comes with investment and it's a huge investment sometimes in some cases, जो कि एक teenager को हमारी society में, especially female को, कम इजाजत मिलती है. How did it start? घर वालों का क्या रिस्पॉन्स था? कितनी लोगों ने कहा कि रुक जाओ, अभी मत करो? कितने लोगों ने कहा कि 5 साल बाद सोचना, पढ़ाई कर लो? How was that process? Putting your idea forward, actually wanting to do it. इजाजतनामे कितने लेने पड़े?
That's something I'm so grateful for because I have a really supportive mother. I mean, she's always in for whatever I'm doing. Once I need to explain to her that we have to do this thing, and a little bit of planning as well, because if I go up to her and say, "Mujhe karna hai," so that's of course a big risk. But she knows that I'm not that much immature. I will do things if I'm saying something. So when I proposed it, she was okay with it. In fact, she offered me that, okay, I can invest in your business if you want to do it. And I also have very supportive people like my cousins. They were like, okay, we are going to accompany you in marketing this thing out. So I have got really good people. And one thing that I really believe in is there will always be people who will discourage you, whatever you are doing. They will always have something different from your plan. So the best thing is that they don't know your plan. You know what you have to do in your life. You know what are your plans. You don't have to tell your everything to everybody. Like I discussed it with just a few people who I found were really reliable and who could give me the right choice. And then I kicked it off. I wasn't like going to every person and asking कि क्या मुझे करना चाहिए और ऐसा करूँगी तो क्या होगा. I'm not that person. I just asked my mother and my cousins and then I kicked it off. And alhamdulillah, it's going good till now.
That's great. That's great. And having that courage at such a young age is also very inspiring. And I really hope that all the young girls, even boys, all the women, all the people who are listening to this conversation right now, um, take a little side note from this statement that you make, that you
Yeah.
don't have to ask everyone around you before starting something. Otherwise, that might not never happen, whatever you're dreaming of. Let's just touch on the other surprising and other really interesting things that you've done in your life. You have been a certified public speaker for how many years again?
It's been 1 year.
Yeah. And how old are you? I just want everyone to hear it from your own mouth. How old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
Yeah.
18 years old.
So how has that journey been? 18-year-old certified public speaker who successfully runs her own Instagram page, who runs other little tiny gigs here and there with different platforms. Where did this journey start? What sparked it? And where do you find the motivation to, keep all of these things in track? Because हम सबके बड़े ख्वाब होते हैं कि हम भी किसी दिन टेड टॉक दें और किसी दिन बात करें, but we not none of us actually reach there. A very few of us reach there by the age of what,
Exactly.
18. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so the first thing is that all of this public speaking thing began when uh, it all began in childhood, actually. So whatever I am right now, it has something to do with my childhood. When I was a little child, and I've always had this passion to speak and to give out my point of view to others. Because if I got an opinion, if I got a vision, so I think that I deserve to share it with everybody. And I was always told either that uh, you're so young right now, you will learn when you grow up. This is now how it goes. Or just don't argue with adults, because they are always right. So I've always had these discouraging remarks from people whenever I try to speak about things. I've always had a different opinion about cultures, the traditions that we follow. And then when you try to tell them that this is something you believe in, then people don't like it at all. So after hearing from people, and one more thing that motivates me a lot is when people say लड़कियों को कम बोलना चाहिए. That is something that says, okay, no, now I'm not going to speak less, I'm going to speak much more. I'm going to go on stages and speak about the things that I believe in. So it all began from that point. I felt like, okay, if I can speak here, there are more people who are really interested in the things that I want to talk about. And what if I go out there and share my opinions with others? I don't want to be any kind of mentor or anything like that. I just want to be a simple person who has some opinions that are worth sharing. So then I started to search about public speakers. I listened to a lot of people. Then there was this one opportunity that popped up where they were offering a public speaking course. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's give it a try. So let's see what happens, what comes off. And it was a good one. And I guess in that period or before that, I also began my page, which was Subminders. And it was so raw back then. Like I was 16 years old or maybe 15 when I began posting on Subminders, and then I made my YouTube channel. So I was almost 15 or 16, not more than that. And all of this journey, I have learned a lot of things, a lot of things. I'm not a pro, but I can say that this journey has not been a useless journey. It has taught me so many things about life, about social media, how to market the things that you're posting. So that's about public speaking. Now, as I come towards your second part, that's about motivations. How do I get motivation for doing these things that I do? So the simple thing that I feel like this is a quality that I have I don't have that victim mentality that most of us have. Just like you said, that there are many people who are dreaming to be a lot of things. They want to be a businessman. They want to earn money. They want to have good relationships and so many things. But very little people among us reach that point where we are actually doing something, where we are actually living our dream lives. And all of this comes from one place. When you ask them that, why couldn't you do what you wanted to do? So their simple answer is gonna be, यार जिंदगी में बहुत मसले आ गए थे, या यार फिर शादी हो गई तो we couldn't continue our dreams, or those I would call them pretty lame excuses for not pursuing your dreams. And for me, it's like, I know there are many people like me. It's having a warrior's spirit, that the problems, the obstacles that you are facing in your way, they're not there to actually stop you from going ahead. They are there to turn you into a better person for that position that you're aiming for. So if I want to be a public speaker, I first need to learn a lot of the depths, the profoundness of life that I can only know when I go through some kind of emotional and spiritual pressure. You can't be a public speaker just by doing a course and just by reading a couple of books. That's not possible. So when there is a problem, I have always taken that as a motivation, that okay, if I'm getting this in my way, it means Allah wants me to actually reach to that point that I am aiming for. So I try to mold myself better. I try to work through those things, and they are my motivation. So whenever I'm thinking about doing something and there's this obstacle on my way, I'm like, okay, so this is the time to actually show up and work. Now this is do or die situation. So it's about having the warrior's spirit and not the victim's mentality.
That's great. That's great. Fateh, I would agree with you again कि lame excuses बनाने में हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा, I guess this generation especially is very very pro at that, nahi? um, just if you look a little behind you and how this whole COVID situation flipped the whole education system and the whole literally the whole world. um, Even the opportunities that we were given, most of us spent them watching TV and watching Netflix and wasting the complete year just like that. Halanki, I'm pretty sure there were lots and lots of amazing courses that we could do to
Yeah.
sharpen our skills. Speaking of that, एक बहुत माइंडसेट बना हुआ है हमारे सोसाइटी में कि यार पहले एफएससी करो, उसमें वाह के नंबर लो, फिर भाई किसी एनडीयू में चले जाओ, किसी नास्ट में चले जाओ, आईबीए चले जाओ, अच्छी सी यूनिवर्सिटी से अच्छी सी डिग्री लो, उसके बाद सक्सेसफुल होगे। उसके बावजूद अगर आपने वो सब नहीं किया, उस रूट पे नहीं गए, तो सक्सेस तो आपको दूर दूर से भी नहीं छूट के जाएगी। क्या ख्याल है इस बारे में? आई नो, बट आई वांट people to learn it from you. What do you think about it? How your journey is surprisingly again a little more different than most of us. Let's talk about it.
I mean, this is so funny. Even when I hear my relatives say words like, "Beta अच्छे marks नहीं आए तो कुछ नहीं होना है तुम्हारा." So it's so funny that we are, caught in this mindsets, and the main reason why we don't jump out of this toxic mentality of positions, of marks, of grades, is because we are so afraid of what lies outside of this whole thing that this world has created for us. Okay, if you don't get education, you're a failure. If you don't have a degree, you're a failure. But the fact is, if you look around you, if you look at the biggest businessman in this world, if you look at the people who are earning millions and millions,
Yeah,
most of them don't even have a degree. Most of them.
Yeah, they'd have again, I think it's the flaw that we as a society look at education in a very kursi mez, samne blackboard kind of way.
Exactly. One thing, um, I find this schooling system so unhealthy for our children because they're being put to this one schedule, they're being put to this one syllabus, and if they want anything out of this, that's not just allowed. In most of the cases, I'm not talking about those schools that are providing that kind of education. There are those good schools who let children explore themselves, but they are so rare. They're so rare. Most of the times, I'm a teacher myself. I teach students. Um, and when I'm explaining them something and they have somewhat questions about that particular topic, I want to explain them the particular answers that they want. But the issue is that if I go this much deep into this topic, then we are going to miss the entire syllabus. There are 8 chapters that you have to cover in 4 months. So isn't that insanity? Like if you can teach those little things to children in a more practical way, is that better? Or is it better that you're teaching 8 chapters that doesn't help them in any way practically, that leads them to nowhere, or that guarantees them success when they are across their teenagers, when they're in their 20s, in their late 20s, then it guarantees them success. Otherwise, it's just useless what they're teaching them right now. It's completely useless. I believe that for children or for even the adults, teenagers, we need personal development classes much more than in schools. I personally believe that. Because our teenagers need to learn about life before they could learn about science and other subjects. So that is what I believe in, and that's why I would like to share this thing. That is the reason why I had to discontinue my education after 10th grade. I did my matric and I was really exhausted after that. Because till 8th, education was so good of a thing to me. I was a position holder and I loved everything about it. I could explore myself. That's the class from 1 to 8. I fell in love with literature. That was the period when I felt like I really love literature. Because my teacher was so good. She taught me literature in a way where I wasn't confined in limits that I can do a certain thing. But then obviously when I went to 9, it was so horrible. I had to learn all of the questions and answers. I couldn't write answers from my own self. I had to just copy them because that's what my sir told me. So it was kind of exhausting, and that's when I realized no, education is not what you need. Education is something you can have as as just for having a degree, for having a cool job. Because right now in Pakistan, you cannot be given a cool job if you don't have it. Inshallah, that will be resolved in future. But for now, you can have education as a side note. But that's not something that I think we should be focusing on. We need to put our efforts towards entrepreneurship more.
Yeah, that's, I mean, can we just again stay on this topic for a little while and, just diversify it? Can you redefine the word education? Because I think it's more of not, it's more the problem with jobs and degrees. It's the problem is how we have started defining education, right? वो जैसे हमारी माएँ, हमारी दादियाँ, हमारे बड़े कहते थे ना कि तालीम के साथ तरबियत भी और किताबें पढ़नी, मुताला करना किताबों का. अभी जैसे you said कि public speaking was not about taking a course. It was actually, learning more and more about different aspects of life and what you would see and learning more about yourself कि यार मैं इस situation में मैं क्या सोचती हूँ या इस situation में लोग अक्सर क्या सोचते हैं. वो जो situation है वो तो
Right.
बच्चों को introduce ही नहीं कराते हम for quite some time
Exactly.
before it gets too late and before they get inspired from the wrong ideas. And you also know, and the world also know, and I think it's really important that we address that in our conversations through YEM, that I'm pretty sure that this is one of the biggest reasons we have such uh, a drug I would say, epidemic, a drug culture epidemic in our schools, in our colleges, in our uh, mid middle schools. Yeah, 13, 14-year-old kids are prone to dangerous drugs because suddenly their life changes, and they haven't been introduced to that sort of life. जो उनको पता हो कि यार this is something that happens, and there are ways, and there there are reasons that these things are happening and these changes are happening. Introduction of literature, actual literature, not just hum naat do nazme ek wahan se ek wahan se. That is, the concept is now absolutely gone, and like you said, the very few schools that give that kind of education are exposed to only a small group of privileged, overprivileged Pakistanis, जो कि मेरा ख्याल से 2% भी नहीं है. हमारी आधी से ज्यादा
Yeah.
कॉम, क्या मेरा ख्याल से 98% कॉम go to a public school, and जिसके अंदर वही 8 चैप्टर्स वाले 8 सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं, एंड उसी तरह याद करना होता है. तो literature can influence, let's talk about that in education. Like you said, like I know you, we have previously discussed on common interest. Literature ka effect on education, your education as well, because like you again mentioned, I would also like to repeat, she discontinued her education, she took a break, and I would say that she didn't discontinue her education, kept on going and going, because you were taking knowledge and absorbing knowledge from other sources. You were just not continuing school.
Yeah.
So how would you say कि इस सारी journey में एक different route लेना, different educational route लेना, how was that? Um, how do you think, if you were in school, would you be able to achieve all of this? Would you be able to have that diverse mindset and that diverse view of life अगर आपको उसी तरह मैट्रिक के पर्चे देने पड़ते, उसी प्रेशर से, और उसी तरह फिर कॉलेज की तैयारी करनी पड़ती?
I mean, obviously, it's something so huge to me when I think about myself. When I was in my 10th, I had no idea of what the practical world is all about. I had so many ambitions back then as well, but I didn't really know where to start and how all of it works, because I was never taught that thing, how this world works. I was taught that you will get a degree, you will get a job. This was the mentality. So when I discontinued education, there were obviously many people saying, okay, it's so bad. You're just wasting your year, and it's going to affect your further education. And at a point, I also felt, okay, this is wrong. I shouldn't do this. People who didn't only say this to me, okay, you are taking a wrong decision, and who didn't only terrify me, they even terrified my mother. And for a mother, listening something like this about her child, she's doing something so bad, so it is going to destroy her future. These words, you wouldn't be able to do something if you don't continue it. It was so hard for me. But as I said in the beginning, I don't really listen to people a lot. I don't like to listen to people. I have my own aims and ambitions, and I knew that I need this time, because after matric, I had an idea that, okay, this is not what I expected it to be. I expected to be a lecturer. I expected to be in a place where, I really get some quality education. I wasn't, I never really wanted to be in a place where I'm stuck. So after I realized कि यार metric तो ऐसे ही चलना है, I was sure कि this is metric, अब मुझे first year में और ज़्यादा रट्टा मारना है. So I needed time. I took it. It doesn't matter what the society wants you to do. It is something that what you want to do for your life. That is what matters. So in that period, that was the period when I learned about things like public speaking, things like entrepreneurship. I spent my time on mobile phone, and this is also something that people would criticized that why do you use mobile phone a lot? I mean, what's there to do? And for me, it is everything. Because if I hadn't been on social media, if I hadn't communicated and connected with people around me, I could have never known how this world is going. Because obviously, I'm not a person who would go out in the streets, who would get a job instantly. Because I was just 15 years old when I discontinued. So I had to learn everything through social media. I have developed a lot of connections through it. I have developed a network on social media. YEM also is from Instagram. I got to you guys through Instagram. So, this is the thing that you don't have to stop your children from doing anything. And for teenagers, you don't have to stop yourself from doing anything that you want to do. You just have to be mature enough to know what you want to do. That is the challenge for you right now. Once you know that this is a point I want to reach, you're good to go. Just go for it. That's what I think. And yeah.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that after I discontinued, there were obviously failures. I wouldn't say that everything turned out so good, and I was so successful at my decision. There were things like whenever I tried to apply to any position, they were always like, you don't have a degree, you're just matric right now. So these were all the problems. But the point is that I gained the practical education. I learned about freelancing. I did freelancing as well. I taught English language. I earned through that. And being honest with you, um, I have my cousins, I have people around my age who are in their universities, who have better education than me, that traditional education. But they haven't earned a penny till now. And I, alhamdulillah, have earned a lot to have supported my mother through that. I've, through my first income, I bought her a mobile phone. And that was a dream that I always wanted for myself, that I want to buy her something with my money. So that was education. I mean, it was never possible if you were talking about discontinuing and wasting. I never wasted anything in life because I earned. And there are people who are BSc and still searching for a job, still searching to earn a few thousand rupees a month. And I did it when I was a matric student. So that is a proof that it's not really education. It's about how you're living your life, how you're treating education to be. Is it just a paper for you? Just a receipt of the pieces you have filled in the colleges and universities? Or is it something bigger? So that's what I think.
Education, career paths, degrees, itne box mein rakhne se, I think a lot of creative people suffer. A lot of potential artists, potential writers, potential speakers suffer. Like you said, if you were in metric, if you were doing the ratas, and if you had not taken that 1 year break, you wouldn't have the exact same opportunities to explore the real world and explore the freelancing opportunities and the public speaking opportunities in the same capacity, if like you did in your break. Yeah. I think that career options just Pakistan mein, and I think I'm pretty sure Pakistan se bahar bhi up social media and YouTube and success of the influencer society say, I guess, thoda bahir in the West, rate of having an unconventional and untraditional career path is more diverse and high. But YEM is a lot about this as well. Okay, we want people to look at other paths, look at other career paths, and start earning from them and start making businesses out of them. What is your advice for all of those who are listening? Parents, young adults, teenagers, kids who are in school right now, what would you say? Someone coming from such a diverse experience background, public speaking भी की है, a business भी है, और मैगजीन्स के लिए भी लिखा है और डिफरेंट फ्रीलांसिंग भी की है और सारा कुछ सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू किया है या we also need to highlight that you did not have a very
Yes,
fancy kind of contact list जिसने आपको contacts दिए social media the right use of social media comments I want to hear what you say about that
exactly. And that is what I have said previously as well, that don't push your child away from mobile phones. Like, you need to nurture them the right thing, that if they are on a mobile phone, if they are on the social media, you need to teach them what they should be doing instead of pushing them away. Like, social media सिर्फ गलत कामों के लिए नहीं बना है. Something else के learn how to use social media in the right way. I mean, parents are always pushing their children away from it. No, you can't make an idea happy because it's not a good place. You can't make an idea on Twitter, it's not a good place. No Instagram. The fact is that social media अच्छे काम करने के लिए ही बना है. You know, there are so many opportunities that you can avail from there. There are many connections you can make. You can earn through it. The point is कि हम लोग गलत काम ही करते हैं. So that is our fault, not the social media's fault. So we need to teach our children the right thing to do and then let them do it.
yeah
I don't know why, but parents have this mentality that we have to just hold the hand of our children and take them through every step of life. It goes like that. If you believe in yourself, then you can really do it. The one and the only thing is, you should be mature, or I would say you should have that element of faith and dignity within you. You should know the principles, the values of life that you have to go through. Because teenagers usually don't know that. So I can't give you the advice that just go ahead and do anything. You can't do that. Okay? So you first have to improve yourself till a point where you know life, where you know the values, where you know your purpose. And then go ahead and do things. It's your life, you gotta live it. Don't live it according to others' expectations. Because if you do it, if you leave others live your life, then you are oppressing your own self. That's the only thing.
media connects you to the right people as well let's talk about
Definitely.
that I know that you've written for a couple of people for a couple of magazines how did that journey start I would want to have a separate discussion with you about the magazines and the writer in you but let's just touch a little bit on this topic as well पब्लिक स्पीकिंग के बाद लिखना शुरू किया और कैसे शुरू किया और या how was it how was the journey where did you start
So again, it's the same thing that when I was a little child, I used to write some little sentences about life that I thought were correct or those were my thoughts. I just wrote them down, and I felt like, okay, they look a lot like quotes that so many big people share. Because I've always loved reading those quotes on brainy quotes or good reads, where they have these one or two lines written and below that is a name. So that inspired me. Okay, people, you can just share one or two sentences that you feel like they are worth it. So my journey started from there. Then I downloaded, again from social media, I downloaded an app which was called Miraki. It was a writer's app. And I posted a few words, a few sentences there. And that is the actual place where I learned writing, that what writing is all about. Because before that, I wasn't aware about any of its depths and about literature. When I started to read them, and there were so many amazing writers. They were super supportive. They taught me things as well. And so I learned from there, then my writing leveled up. I started to write about deeper stuff. Then I started to write about emotional stuff that I didn't write previously. And that writing helped me a lot in a lot of ways. Through my personal crisis as well, that writing has helped me a lot. And I learned it through that platform, Miraki. And from that same platform, I also found a person who was named Uwais Sheikh. and he's the one who I also interviewed for YAM. I found him from the same Iraqi, and we met there. We were just like, uh, just commenting on each other's posts, supporting each other's work. And then after some days, he told us that, okay, I'm beginning an e-magazine. Who would like to accompany me in that? And I said, okay, since I love writing, I would like to have a try on that. And it's almost 1 year back. Then I got connected with him through WhatsApp. Then we had conversations, Cosry grew into something that it is today. We started featuring audio poesies. Then we started, arranging contests. And I was then promoted to the executive editor post after a couple of months. So it all started from that little point, and then it's connected from one another in this way. And today, Alhamdulillah, I mean, I have learned from Cosby a lot. I have written for it as well. My write-ups got published in it, and I also proofread the write-ups and arrange the little things that a magazine has to do with. So I would only say that if you have that thing, you have to go to somewhere. The universe makes your way. You just have to believe in yourself.
Firstly, by Awais Sheikh, you interviewed him for our entrepreneurship stories, for our entrepreneurship hunt series that we do on our social media.
Yeah.
My God, that interview was so well taken. I was so impressed. By the way, for those who don't know, I'm just going to display the image here. Causely is a multi-language e-magazine founded by Awais Sheikh. Please check out all the links down below. We have tagged them, and support small businesses, support local made, local produced content. And I found out people write it in Arabic, in Persian, in Italian as well, and French as well. I don't remember the names. French, yeah. So yeah, please, where were we? Causerie. Causerie मिला, Awais मिला, वैसे Causerie बना. अब कहाँ हो? Do you still write for them, or is it more of a managerial work now?
No, actually, I do write for them. It's like if I want to write, if there's a space left, because Alhamdulillah, now we get so many write-ups that most of the times my write-ups and the editorial team's write-ups get missed. We skip our write-ups because, the people deserve it more than us.
Yes.
So right now, what I'm doing is I am acting as an executive editor for Causerie. I manage the contests that are going on there, those little things, the decisions. It's more like me and Brother Wiz. We are more like working on it together. There's a whole of the team that discusses things, and it's more like something that we need to take on another level now. It's been an year. We have been working on it, but now we want to start making money through it as well. Because we believe that artists really don't get the opportunity to earn in the right way.
Yes.
They deserve that place where they can earn. Yeah, so that's why we are planning to introduce some activities, some internships for people who want to learn with us and who are literary and who would like to support literature in any way possible. So we are working on internships, we're working on marketing plans that we would offer, inshallah, in the near future. We are featuring audio poesies. We are also conducting contests, and obviously we also offer writing services, content writing, blog writing, graphic designing. These are the services that we are offering. And there's also one fun thing that Brother Wiz did. He's also doing that naan khatai business in it. So he bakes those naan khatais because he's a very passionate chef as well.
Oh, that's great.
So it's more like a fun thing.
Oh,
He's doing that, and we are supporting everything.
That's great. Since you've touched on it, maybe agenda mein nahi tha, I would, comment on this and we would talk about it. Artists, writers, speakers, people of skill not being paid for their skill and their service. Have you personally suffered from it, considering you are a freelancer, and how comment on it? What is your thought on it? Because I think that हम ये समझते हैं कि एक बंदा जो अपने घर बैठ के ना बाहर निकल के ना कुछ और करके एक लैपटॉप पे बगैर एक ऑफिस में एंटर हुए काम कर रहा है, उसका काम इतना वैलिड नहीं है शायद, because he doesn't go to an office and he doesn't quit his home to work. We just, nullify their work. Uh, have you personally experienced that? ऐसा होता है, इंडस्ट्री ऐसी है ये फ्रीलांस इंडस्ट्री, उसमें एंटर होना कितना मुश्किल है?
No, freelance industry, it's so hard to enter there, so hard. The first thing is that the good point is you don't need a degree. That's a good thing about freelancing. But the bad thing is that you have to work days and nights to get just one order, because there are a million more working on it. And especially, it's not so much right now in Pakistan, but when about artists not getting paid. As you discussed it, so I would like to give my opinion as well. I have been through this situation where people wanted me to write for them, and they want this to be this way, and they want me to do three things. But once you do it, there's never the talk of payment. They just don't think about it. Okay, this person is offering us a service. Writing is a service in itself, so you should be paying any artist some money. If you are asking an artist uh, create a post for you or to create a poster, they deserve money. And the thing is, if you're writing, if you're an artist, you can do everything for free. I feel like this is what goes on around. Pretty irritating stuff. I have been in places where people want you to write stuff, and they're like, "You are a volunteer right now. You got to do all of these things. All the things that people get paid for doing, but you have to do everything for free because you're a volunteer." And for how long is that volunteership? Okay, it's lifelong. So what kind of attitude is that? Even if you want somebody to volunteer for you, a writer, you gotta give them a permanent or even a temporary job later on. You can't just consume their services and do nothing with them. That's not the right attitude towards writers and artists.
Right, what you said. Not just writers, even if someone asks you to correct the grammar of like a 10-pager essay that you've written, you take out your time, sit there, use your eyes and your brain and your intelligence, and you could be doing anything in that few minutes or few hours that you were concentrating, reading that 10-pager essay, correcting their grammar mistakes. People really need to think about that. People of skill, people who are providing you a service, also do spend quite a bunch of time. They also have to go, even if they're blessed. I've heard that, as an artist, you are blessed by God. You did not pay to learn the skill. You did not go to school for the skill, so you don't deserve our money. Yes, people like writers and authors and grammar checkers and artists and video editors. Yes, it is a talent. Yes, not everyone can do it, and that is the only reason you should be paying for their service. They do spend a lot of their time learning and more about the skill, polishing their skills, going to the next level. It is not just by birth. They do pay and they do spend time on what they're doing. Um, let's just go back 5 years. There's a younger version of you sitting, and you go to her, you hold her hand. What are the things that you want to say to her? And what in return that she will tell you? Um, after all this journey, after all the obstacles you've faced, after all the risks that you have taken, what is the conversation that would take place between you and your younger self?
That if it's going to my younger self and talking to her, the first thing I would tell her is that you are so young and you don't need to take all of the burden of this world on your shoulders. You don't have to be so responsible for everything around you. Because I know that back then I had this habit of blaming myself a lot. I blame myself for everything that happened. I thought that, okay, if there's anything wrong that's happening, it's because of me. And I have the control. I could do things better. I had that mentality. So going back, I would first tell myself that it's okay if things don't go your way. You don't have control over certain things. So just be content with it. Second thing I would tell myself is to not uh, to not feel a lot what people say or what people do. Because it's okay to be pained by certain things that happen around you, but just be oh don't ever depend on people for things. Don't ever depend your happiness or your joy on others. You can be happy without them as well. uh, those I think are the two things that I would tell myself. And the third one is obviously the most important thing is that take care of your mental health. Because I think that when you have so much going on in life, your mental health really goes to a very bad place. And if you don't give it the right treatment, it keeps getting worse and worse over time. So I would tell myself that please take care of your mental health. And if you ever need therapy, so go for it. Don't stop yourself. Don't let the world stop you from doing that. Those are three things.
Um, that's, I guess, another huge topic that, I mean, it's, I don't think it's a tail ending topic, mental health and um, female entrepreneur alone, supposedly alone in this world, because like we started on this note कि भाई औरत अकेली होती है, अब उसका कोई सहारा ना हो तो वो अकेली होती है. And you're right, if you do not have the right kind of vent and don't have the right kind of um, treatment, and by treatment I don't mean that you need to go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, right kind of remedy for your mental health. I think you can get lost and you can lose yourself in those, you know, rounds of darkness, in those caves of darkness जहाँ पर लोग आपको एक बॉक्स के अंदर पुट कर देते हैं या आपकी सिचुएशंस आपको एक बॉक्स में पुट कर देती हैं. um, Anything that you want, the I mean I'm positive that there must be a list of things that our listeners took away from this interview. Anything in particular you want to tell young girls who are listening um, and who are in debate with themselves कि आगे क्या किया जाए, अपनी dreams कैसे pull की जाए, anything.
So for all the young people out there who are listening, my number one advice to you would be to strengthen your faith, to explore yourself, to explore the depths in you, to explore the holes in yourself, to explore those things that you have always ignored in you. Here's your challenge to explore it, to get to know yourself, who you are. Why were you sent in this world? Is there something that you really need to do before you go away? What are the things that you have always wanted since childhood, but now you don't even discuss them because you are so afraid of the world? You're so afraid of the norms that are surrounding you. ask yourself questions, the sincere questions, and answer them your own self. Go on a journey of self-awareness because this is your time. If you get to 20, if you get to 25, then you have the responsibilities of the world on your shoulders, and you will never get time to explore yourself, to have that faith, the fulfilling faith, to how to lead a fulfilling life. You will never have the ways to do these things. Right now you have the time, right now you have the resources. There are a million pages available that give you the spiritual, the emotional, the mental, the physical advices that you gotta apply on yourself. My advice is, don't ever think that if you're physically all right, if you're earning a good amount of money, you're successful. No, you're not. Don't ever think that if you have a good mental health, you're successful. No, you're not. You have to balance each and every aspect of your life, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and socially. So it's all about exploring yourself right now. Don't rush into things. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Just yourself. Right now, it's personal development time. All these years are dedicated to your growth. So just work on that.
Thank you so much, Bintan, for joining me. Again, congratulations to you, to your family, for the new launch. And again, I will be. We have links. Fizza, do we have links for Aura?
No, we don't have. I will share with you.
Okay. But you do have something, na? Jumper people can
Yeah,
contact.
I do have. I will share with you.
Okay, okay. So thank you so much, Bintan, for joining me. We're so proud of you. Congratulations on the launch of Aura. Congratulations on the successful journey with Suckminders, with Causity. Like I said in middle, and I'll be saying that again, all the links of brands, of startups, of magazines, of Aura, of Infinity herself and Mindworks will be in the description box below. Please make sure to share this little chit chat with your friends and your family. We're all here to support young girls like her, even younger girls like her. We're here to support the young generation doing their own thing, chasing their dreams. And if you need to learn anything about YEM and what YEM is about, everything can be found in the description box below. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations, and once again,
It's an honor.
congratulations to your mother. We're so, so, so proud of you.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Jazakallah.
Okay.